Yellow ball. I got the yellow ball.
Oh, all right. I think I ate the most balls there. So why are we using Hungry Hippos to demonstrate anything? Well, we're gonna get into frame rate. Our cameras have the ability to be set at different frame rates, and that's what Todd's gonna explain. So what are the different frame rates we're gonna be working with?
The general frame rates that everybody's gonna find in their cameras is 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second, and 60 frames per second.
So what you're saying is that at 24 frames, we have literally 24 individual still images and 30. There's 60 still frames that all make up the video?
That's exactly right.
So what is that giving us?
24 frames per second is going to give you that cinematic film look. It's going to give you a motion blur. We've all grown up watching movies shot at 24 frames per second, and a lot of guys tend to gravitate towards 24 frames just to imitate that look.
So that gives you a certain look that may be good for one thing, but maybe 30 is better for something else.
30 frames is going to give us a more realistic look. There's actually more frames there, capturing more action, but it's going to give you that video look.
So what are we going to do here to demonstrate?
We're going to stick with that cinematic movie-like look. So 24 frames per second is where we're going to live on all these examples. The only thing we're going to change is the shutter speed. So let's start off with this 1/50th of a second and see what that looks like.
What we're gonna do here is show you how shutter speed affects what's going on in the image. We're gonna use a metronome so we have something that's constant and moving. We've already locked in the settings for the camera because all we're focusing in on right here is what's gonna happen when we change the shutter speed. All right, let's see what happens with this metronome as an example.
All right, and we're rolling and action. Now this is a very pleasing image. This is that cinematic look we were talking about. Great place to be.
This looks all right. What's gonna happen if we slow it down to a 30th of a second?
Let's see what it looks like. So we're down to 1/30th and we're recording. Now what's gonna happen here is we're just picking up more of that motion blur. Not a terrible thing, but it's definitely something to be aware of if you push it down that far.
So we've shown you a lot of different lights that you can use for your setups, but we haven't shown an actual setup, and Todd's gonna tell us about a simple one right here.
We're gonna do a classic setup called a 3-point lighting scheme. It's got your key, it's got your fill, and it's got your hair light.
So what I want you guys to know is that we've already locked in the settings for the camera. This isn't about the settings of the camera and what lens and all of that. It's all about the lighting. So Todd, what are we doing here?
First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna turn on our key light. That's our main source of light. It's gonna be the strongest light in the whole scene. So let's turn that on and see what it looks like.
So while Todd's doing that, I wanna let you know that if you just have one setup, I know that this is called 3-point lighting, but we want you to know that with just one light, you can still make this happen. We just want to show you that 1, 2, 3 lights and how that all works together, just so that you have an idea that you can build off of that for the future. So we just showed you guys a lot of different options that you have to get audio into the camera, but there's one mistake that I made when I first started out because I didn't know any better, and that was how to set the audio levels in my camera. I set it to auto, and auto may not be the right choice. Why is auto not the right choice, Todd?
Well, it would be great if the camera did all the work. Unfortunately, when it's set to auto, when it's real quiet and nobody's talking, it looks for sound. So it raises your recording level and you get a lot of hiss. Next thing you know, somebody starts talking again and it compresses that audio to try to keep up with all the different levels.
Right, so basically what's happening there is the camera is set to auto and it's bouncing up, it's bouncing down based off of just whatever audio is there. So if you have some quiet times, it's really gonna raise those levels. You're gonna hear a lot of hiss, and that isn't good. I hear a lot of hiss in a lot of my early videos, and that really is the reason why. So what is the way around it?
Well, the first thing you gotta do is get out of auto and go to manual.
So we're out on location at a bowling alley, and not only are we gonna do something pretty cool, but I have my bowling shoes on because I'm ready to bowl. But Todd, what are we really here to do?
We are here to shoot an EPK, which is an electronic press kit. So this could be for any corporate client, any business out there, and a great way to make a couple bucks. Mr. Dave Leno back here, he's an avid bowler. He's looking for an EPK to help promote himself and how knowledgeable he is.
Sure, and another thing that an EPK can be used for musicians, for any business owner. You're telling the story of what they do in an easily consumable piece of content that they can put anywhere and use it pretty much as an advertisement. So you have the clipboard here. What are we talking about?
I got a clipboard here. I have got a shot list first and foremost. Last night I kind of just thought out everything I want to get. Not cutting off creativity whatsoever. We're gonna be inspired while we're here to do some extra things, but at least I've got a roadmap and I'm not gonna miss critical things.
Yeah, remember when we talked about pre-production? That's what you have to do to prepare yourself. Todd, what are some more rules we're gonna get into?
Well, some good things I wanna talk about now are coverage and the almighty 180 rule.
Now, this 180 rule is something that I just ruined at the very beginning, but it's something that I made the mistake once, and it never happens again. So that's why we're here to show you the examples to see what a good use of the 180 rule is and what it looks like if we break it.
So let me just give you the basics. We've got a camera above us here, and between the two characters, there's an axis between us. There's an eye line between us. We don't want to cross that eye line with our camera. We want everything to be on one side or the other. Right now, we've got all of our cameras on this side. That's generally where you want to keep them. It helps the audience understand where things are relative to one another. Now, if we cross that line, which we will show an example of, it will disorient the audience. Can you break the rule? Absolutely. But know the rules, and then you can break them.
All right, Todd, I see you have the slider set up. What is going on here?
Well, I'm going to come in here for a two-shot. Kind of tried to fake it here when I swung it around. I think that'll give me good movement to come into this shot, but this is going to give us a really cool effect while getting both of them in one shot.
So go over the two-shot again.
Two-shot is, obviously, we've got two folks here that we're going to get in the same frame at the same time. This isn't singles, this is a two-shot.
So we referred to dirty and clean before, but in this case,
it would be clean, except I decided to grab some glasses from behind the bar, stack them here, so I put a nice foreground element as I'm sliding back and forth, and it's gonna look really cool.
So before we can get to shoot, we had the scratch audio coming from the camera before on the first shot, but now that we're in a two-shot, what are we doing to get better audio?
Well, now that I'm tighter, I actually was able to rig my Rode mic here on a boom pole over top of them. It's not gonna be the best sound right now, but it's the best for the shot I'm doing right now. It's not pointing at either one of them directly, so it's gonna get a little bit of both of them, pretty good, but not the best. Where I'm gonna get the best sound is when I go in for close-ups.
So what's the lighting setup that we have right now?
Well, the bulbs we have are daylight, and our cameras are set to daylight. Under the daylight setting, you've got your cloudy and you've got your shady. That's just a variation of the daylight. So as of right now, our whites are white.
Right, so if we popped up this white card, we would see that everything should be pretty white.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Now, we also have some other variations in here. We've got some tungsten bulbs in here. So let's switch to tungsten so we can kind of show what's gonna happen while we're still in daylight settings on the camera.
Sure.
Boom. So we are awash in a beautiful orange glow.
Right, so basically what switched here is we just changed the light to tungsten balanced light, but left the camera set to the daylight white balance. So what would we do here to get the proper white balance?
I mean, we have tungsten lights on now, so we should switch our camera to tungsten.
All right, so let's do that.
All right.